Howdy folks, Hellcorrex here, and welcome to Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 41. Alright, today, as you've probably seen on the title, we're going to be talking about the Vulcan, the 40-ton mech. Now, this mech doesn't get much use in my army, mostly because of what it does, or can't do, on a very good basis. Now, let's just go through the stats and we'll figure out why. Now, it is a 40 tons, as I said before. It's a 696, so it has jump jets, so it's very mobile, which falls under more of the kind of a scout mechish kind of job, with its ability to move around. Has 10 heat sinks, which come on the engine. Has 80 points of armor, which is only 5 tons, which is way short what normally can have. It carries around an AC-2 in the right torso with a ton of ammo, a medium laser in the left torso, a flamer in the right arm, a machine gun, just a machine gun, in the left arm with 1 ton of ammo, and it carries its jump jets in the right and left torsos and center torso. Now, what do I think this mech does? Well, with the flamers and machine guns, it does a pretty good job of burning out infantry. Can do kind of a number on vehicles if you get close with the flamer. But when it comes to anti-mech, yeah, the flamer can do a little bit of heating up on a mech. Let's say you get a mech that's kind of hot, or you want it to make it a little hotter. You can use that flamer, do a little bit of damage, and up the heat a little bit. Now, with the AC-2, that's more of a harassment weapon. Now, it does kind of do a little bit of work against infantry, but with something that shoots out there pretty decent range, it's more of a plinking weapon that's looking for that golden BB to get into that nice shot. If you want to try the lucky shot, once in a while you might get into the head or get that lucky snake eyes and get into a torso area and maybe hit some ammo or an engine or a gyro. That's what you're banking on with an AC-2. It's not something that's going to do wondrous work. If you're looking at shooting a mech down, it's going to take forever and a day, and you're going to run out of ammo before you really do anything, if the odds are against you. Now, if the odds are in your favor, it could be the very first shot. You could take a mech out with the first shot. That's just the odds. You're gambling on that. So, what do I do with this thing? I usually, when I do use it in my army, it's, say I have to face out some dug-in infantry or something like that. This mech does a great job of going in, just burning them out. And if they're in buildings, you can toast them. And that's what I primarily use it. Kind of like a fire starter in that same role, which we'll get into here in a little bit. Probably next couple times we'll be talking about the fire starter. So they kind of have the dual role in doing both things. One's just a little heavier than the other, and I kind of, well, to be honest with you, it's one way or the other. Which one I'd rather take? Let me just look back here at the bring that thing up real quick. If you look at a fire starter, yeah, it's got the 4 flamers. That's what I was trying to remember, and all the machine guns. So it is definitely geared towards taking out infantry. It is totally 100%. Now, what have I done in the past? Yeah, I just go on the flanks, harass targets until I see something. If I see a vehicle or a mech that looks like it needs a little extra heat, this thing can dive in, hit the flamer. Now, be honest with you, we're going to talk about some of the changes I would make in this mech in the customization. But first we're going to get into the variants. Now, the variants, there's one really that they talk about. The most common variant is the 5T, which replaces the auto cannon with a slightly more armor, several more medium lasers. So yeah, you're taking, what is that, 6-7 tons, and 2 towards weapons, so that leaves you 5. So yeah, you can almost max out the armor on this thing, leaving you half ton left over, which you could put into another machine gun. You know, that's which makes me wonder. I have to take a look sometime at the actual variant sheet, what they have on there, how they totally built it out, because it doesn't add, the math doesn't add up right in my head. But that wouldn't be too bad, but then you're kind of foregoing any ability to shoot anything at range. And if you're any type of player, you like to have something to be able to shoot with while you're closing, which brings me to the variant I like to do with this thing, and I've used it many times. Keeping into the thought of having a long-range weapon, so I replace that AC2 with a large laser. Alright? So it's basically you're just removing an autocannon for a large laser. And with 10 heatsink, that's not a problem. So if you like run, most heat you're going to do is 10. So your heatsinks take care of that. The only time you're going to have any problems is if you jump. So you jump 6 and you fire that large laser, it puts you up 14, you're going up 4 in the heat scale. And you might have some problems if you continually do that. But typically, if you're jumping and you're firing, you probably are trying to get in behind somebody. You might do that for one turn, and the next turn you're already behind them, and you're going to be flipping over to your medium laser and your machine guns and flamer. So then you're probably going to cool off. All right, so that's not a problem. It's just situation dictates, you know, however it works on in the game. And with those 6 jump jets and being a 6'9" mover, this mech can get around pretty quick. And it can also, to be honest with you, it can do the job of anti-scout. So if you're running up against some 20-tonners, 25-tonners, this mech can do some wonders on them and do a little bit of damage. Because, to be honest with you, a medium laser or machine gun or a flamer hitting a light mech that's in the 20-25 ton range, that's going to do some hurt on them. You know, they don't have a lot of armor to begin with. And now if you change it to the version where you replace that AC2 for a large laser, like this is how I would do it, make it a large laser, and that's going to tear nice little holes into a light mech. Now you're going to have some extra tonnage left over, so obviously you got 5 tons that goes into that AC2. That's 2 tons. What am I going to do with the 2 tons? Obviously, I'm putting it into the armor, so I'm going to up that thing up to 7 tons, and 7 tons puts it over the 100-point mark. I think it's 112, somewhere in there, and that's pretty decent, you know, especially if you're doing the anti-scouting role or the anti-infantry. You can handle some hits with that much armor before you start really facing any problems. So that's one thing to think about, is what it's going to be doing. Now, you don't want to really run this thing up against really heavy mediums or heavies or assaults. This thing will disappear really quick, to be honest with you. If you get an Atlas that decides, hey, look at there, it's a Vulcan, it's not long for the world. You know, you get some good hits, it's going to know it, and it's probably going to go down in 1 or 2 turns. Especially if you get a heavy lance or assault lance targets this thing, it's going to be a bad day. So just keep things onto the flanks, keep it away, keep it out of the head of your opponent, make sure that they're not really noticing, because this thing's not going to do a lot of damage. And as I said before, you're in a game where someone's doing a ton of damage to you, they got big weapons. Who they want gone first? The guy with the big weapons. Are they going to mess with the guy that's doing little plink shots on you? Especially if you got the book one with AC2. Oh, you hit me with 2? Whatever. I'm going to go over here and shoot at the guy that's done 25, 30, 40 damage to me. You know, that's, you know, what's the big squeaky wheel that's going to need to be greased off the tabletop? It's not going to be the little guy with the little plinker gun. So just think about that. Now, that's pretty much everything that I can think of the Vulcan. And what are your thoughts with this thing? How do you use it? Do you use it in a different role other than anti-scouting, anti-infantry, or possibly in / anti-vehicle? And do you use it in your games often or not, or you just kind of shy away from it as something you don't really like seeing on the table. All right, you guys. We'll talk to you in the next one. This is Hellcracks. Talk to you later.